Hi YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my flip through for November and December. I know I am a little bit early for filming for the end of December, but I work this week coming up pretty much the whole week, so I know I probably won't do anything in my creative journal, so I decided to do a flip through. It is Sunday the 26th, and so that's what I'm doing now. So initially I started off in my moleskin, and I quickly found out that the pages were just too big for me at the time, and that's when I decided to go over to this journal that I had for a while. It's a 3-in-1 journal, and part of it is lined, another part is a dotted grid, and then the last section is blank. So I figured it had a nice elastic band to it, and it also had some pretty strong spiral rings, so I decided to go with that. So let's just get started with November's. So I started November off with, I wanted to do sort of like a goals, because I still wanted to treat it like a journal in a sense, even though it was more so creative. There were goals that I wanted to hit as well. And so they were to do a Bible journal, like start working in that, get a massage, consistent posting on my YouTube and podcast, read 2 books, and exercise at least 10 days. And I failed. I ended up doing like one Bible journal entry as far as, the bullet journal that I'm using for my Bible journal. I didn't do a massage. I was posting consistently, I will say, on my YouTube and podcast. I only read one book, and I did not exercise. I don't even think not one day. I did movement, but as to specific exercising, I didn't do. And these were like peel and press decal stickers type situation. And so that's what I use for here. And let's start into the days. So this was the beginning, and I just talked about like it's a new month, new goals, new opportunities, and things that I wanted to look forward to in this season. And this was me just kind of explaining how happy I was that the seasons was changing and why I like transitions. I did add a couple of pictures when me and my kids were doing the pumpkins and everything like that. That was on the 1st and the 2nd. Moving to the 3rd and the 4th, it was, so I still had like a lot of things going on with me that I was still thinking about with recent death and sickness that was in my family. And on the 4th, so over here, I wanted to kind of highlight things, although I was going through some things through the storm and everything that I was going through, I still could like look at the good things that were friends, grace, mercy, fellowship, love, and hope. So those were the things I decided to pull out of the situation of like darkness, so to speak. Over here, I decided to just do something different with adding lines. And I was excited. That's why I had emojis over here for a potential promotion at my job. And so that is still like, I'm not sure what's going on with that, because along with that came like a lot of changes that I would have to make schedule wise and everything. So needless to say, I like the fact that I was even thought about, because I've only been working at the hospital since June, and that started my training, and this is my first time in the hospital, so I'm still like not fully trained on everything, so to speak. So I just wanted to write that down and take note of how I was feeling with that. the 6th and the 7th. So on the 6th was the funeral, and that was hard. And then the 7th was my nephew's anniversary of his passing. So those were really, really hard days for me. And the fact that they were back to back was really difficult. It was just really hard. So I had put um, a picture of the obituary, and that's my nephew, and that's me and my kids, and I just put, oh, how I wish that you could see us now. We love and miss you so much. So I was just kind of documenting my feelings and where I was at with that, and I put gone but never forgotten. Moving on to the 8th, I colored this, and it says, if you can't control it, let it go, because there are some things that I'm still working on letting go control of, even though I don't have control over it anyway. It's just all in my mind with letting it go. And on the 9th, I did this, I kind of did some journaling while I had some downtime at work. And that's why it's on this piece of paper, and I just transferred it over. And I talked about how group was amazing and everybody was really supportive of each other. And this group was super traumatic. It was like a lot of things going on. It was really, really traumatic. And the fact that the group pulled in together so good, it was just amazing for me. I love group because you get a chance to really see a lot of things that work for a lot of people and just the benefits that they get from it. So that was really nice. But then down here, I also put down like how I need to buckle down and study for my licensing exam, and just kind of confronting the anxiety and apprehension that I have about taking the test, and what I need to overcome with that. And of course, I have food in the background. And this day, I was writing down what I'm grateful for. And when one of the things that stuck out for me for what I was grateful for was when I picked my daughter up from school, her teacher had like 3 big boxes of food. And they were things she said that her church, her pastor was gonna throw away. And it was like Cheez-Its, Fruit Loops, and I forgot what the other thing was. But it was just nice that she thought about me and my family. It's always nice to be thought of. And so that's what I try to do for other people, whether it's in giving money to people I see that's outside, or lending a helping hand that I can for anyone. So I'm always grateful for that. And here I just wrote down like what I planned on having for Thanksgiving dinner. And again, just adding some pictures. This I never got a chance to fill in. This was about a sermon that I had heard on performance mentality by Joyce Myers. And what stuck out for me was because she was talking about like how we add like this number to everything, like how many times, like I kind of did at the beginning when I showed my goals, like working out 10 times within a month. Or not to say that it's bad, but when we start putting a number to everything, like how long do we pray, how many times, instead of just focusing on doing the act itself, that really stuck out for me. So I will have to come back and do that. On the 17th, I just put down a disagreement that I had about working a holiday schedule at the shelter and the hospital, because I still work relief work at the domestic violence shelter that I work at, and also at the hospital. So I kind of wrote down like what happened, how it made me feel, the lesson I learned, what I'm doing going forward, and what I was proud about. And that was pretty cool to kind of write down things like that. Here is Thanksgiving, and I put a picture of I didn't have to work Thanksgiving, but I had to work the day before. No, I worked Thanksgiving. I did work Thanksgiving. I worked Thanksgiving. I didn't have to work the day after. So it was my holiday to work at the hospital, and I was still in a good mood. I did a gratitude group that went absolutely amazingly well, considering that people were not with their families. And I just put a picture of me for that day, and also a picture of some of the food that I cooked, and just food on this side. And that was all that I did for November. Now, moving on to December, one thing I forgot to add right here, I wanted to add like a little pocket, so I have to add that later, but I wanted to start it off. I started it on the 6th, and I wanted to start it off with just like this picture that I took from Instagram. It says, drink your pumpkin spice, put up your Christmas tree. This year has been hard. Do whatever brings you joy. And I thought that that was just like a simple truth. Like, sometimes we just have to do whatever it is that we feel. And I know for some people, like putting up their tree at a certain time, a lot of people have issues with like how early you should put it up or when you should take it down. And drinking certain drinks or having certain seasonal things can be issues for people. But just do whatever makes you happy and bring you joy. And that's kind of how, and I also like the fact that it's joy because that's my word for this year. So I added that. Here I kind of stamped out back to the drawing board, and I said that because I decided to go back in here and carry it back down to the basics, because I think when I first started off doing the creative journaling in this notebook, I was focused too much on the art and the perfection of the art and what I was putting into it instead of using it as just what it is and not thinking too much about it. So here I'm just describing like how I'm going back to the drawing board with the basics of my journaling and not reading too much into it and just letting whatever flows flow, because that's not why I initially wanted to do the creative journaling. It was more so to document and have like snapshots of things that goes on, but in a more visual sense, if that makes sense. Here, the next day, I put how my son wasn't feeling good and he stayed home, and just how hard it was. And I added some faith stickers because sometimes it can be really hard. Both my kids are special needs, and it can be really hard, especially when they go through things that's related to their syndrome, but things that just normally happens, just sickness in general, and just how I have to remember to keep giving my cares to God and not trying to hold on to them or fix them myself or think I can fix them myself. For my lunch that day, I had Jimmy John's, and that made me happy. So I decided to put that in. And then the 8th, which was like the next day when he went back to school, he fell down the stairs at school, and he had like a concussion. He had this huge bump on his head right here. I just added the doctor slip, and this was when we was on our way, when I had picked him up from school and took him to the doctor. So that was a hard day because he is nonverbal, so it is just really hard to get a read on exactly how he's feeling. And so right here, I put, this room brings about a calmness in me, one that I would like to have. This is something I need to work on, calmness. And with moving into my journey with minimalism and trying to let go of things that definitely make me more anxious with like clutter and stuff like that, just having this to see and be able to go back to throughout the year is good, because it's exactly how I want to feel and how I want to create an environment to be like just calmness. Here I just was doing some random Christmas list things, nothing big. And again, some more journaling. My son had to go back to the hospital on this day because he took a nap and woke up and his lip was just swole like a bubble. And it was because the swelling from his head had moved down and irritated the mucous membranes, and that's what kind of swole up in his lip. It was bad. So then just I added on this side just some holiday sweets to brighten up everything I had been through. Here I actually did a video on this. Definitely go check this out, the journaling that I did with these 2 days and just how I was feeling then. Here, this is, I had got a letter from and this was on the 7th. I had backdated it. A little note that I got from an adolescent patient, and it just made my day. It's nice to be thought of, but I was more so happy that she actually listened and took in some of the things that I told her, and hopefully it helps her on her journey. On this side, I put like how the school, my kids' school gave like a gift card for some families, and I was appreciative of that. This is just a picture of the gifts that I made for his teachers and classmates, and that was fun to do. And here I took a picture of some ornaments that were my favorite that I had gotten this year. And this is an ornament that a friend made for me for my nephew. And it says, because someone we love is in heaven, there's a little piece of heaven in our home. And that's just a picture of him and how it was on a tree. And I just put like how even though he's gone, he'll never be forgotten. And it's not a day or a holiday that goes by that he's not in my thoughts. Here I just put Christmas things and just a lot of different pictures of things that I got from the magazine. I got a picture from, I got a gift from a friend, and I just realized I didn't cover her name. I'll just blur that out. But just what she gave me, that was really cool. And then on here, I put why I love Christmas, and I love it because it acknowledges the birth of Christ, and giving is such a good feeling, just as Jesus was given to us. For Jesus, family, love, memories, festive music, lights, smiling faces, good moods, and gratitudes. And here I put a picture of my Christmas tree 2021. I said I was going to do this every year so that I can see just how it changes each year and what I did or didn't like about it. So I really like the tree much better lit than I did when it wasn't. And here is the ending of my 2021 podcast year and the increases that I did within there. So definitely go check that out if you haven't already done so. The Uncluttered Mind, I'm on a lot of different platforms like Apple, Google, Castbox, Spotify, maybe like 6 more, I believe. So check that out. I talk about mental health and wellness, which is why I also talk about it when I do some journaling as well. And the last thing is my favorite book of the year, which was Reclaiming Rest. I absolutely love that book. Definitely go check that out. It talks about rest and it ties it into the Sabbath and things like that. It was an amazing book. I got it from the library, but I am seriously thinking about buying it because it's something that I feel I can always go back to and reference. So I hope this video wasn't so long, but I'm glad I was able to do a flip through and show you guys. I look forward to moving into January and just continuing with this definitely subscribe if this is something that you like. I would love to have you here along this journey with me. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.